Welcome back to Rating the List, where we review, discuss, and reimagine popular movie lists objectively. We're your hosts. I'm Jerry.
And I'm Brad. And in this episode, we're continuing on with our holiday top 10. And in this episode, we'll be exploring number 6, Die Hard.
All right. Number 6, Die Hard, directed by John McTiernan, released in 1988, starring Bruce Willis and the Alan Rickman. The plot for this movie is as follows. A recently separated from his wife, New York cop John McClane, flies out to LA to be with his family and his wife. A recently separated from his wife, New York cop John McClane, flies out to LA to be with his wife and daughter for Christmas. He goes to Nakatomi Plaza to meet up with Holly. However, the building is taken over by a group of terrorists that keep the Christmas party attendants hostage along with John's wife. John, now trapped in the building but separated from the party, takes matters into his own hands.
So, let the debate begin.
Yeah.
This is like, there's like been this internet debate for years, you know, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Is it not a Christmas movie? I can tell you I looked at 10 lists to compile this top 10, and this movie was on 8 lists.
So, I mean...
And very high on these lists because it ended up being number 6 on our list.
So it has Christmas music.
It does, in the score.
Throughout the whole thing. It has a Christmas party that he goes to.
Yes.
There's a couple Christmas trees in the movie.
He's bringing his daughter a gift.
He's bringing his daughter a gift. And what else? What other Christmas stuff is it?
I think that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. The only thing that I can say is I don't think the intention of the movie makers was that it was making a Christmas list movie, because it was released July 22nd of 1988. Yes. If it was a Christmas movie, it would have been released around Christmas.
Yeah, the one thing you can say about this movie, regardless if it's on a Christmas list or not, is one, it's great.
It's so good.
It's one of the best action movies ever made.
Ever made.
It is one of the best scripts ever written. And you might kind of scoff at that, thinking because it's so, it doesn't have a whole lot happening. But everything in this script leads to something. There are no stones left unturned. If something shows up in Act 1, it's going to come into play in Act 2 or Act 3. There are no dangling threads whatsoever in this script. This script is taught in film school. This script shows up in script writing books as an example of exactly what to do if you're writing a 3-act play. Yeah.
It's so good. It's funny. It's action-packed. It's got a great villain that's played by Alan Rickman, Hans Gruber.
Shoot the glass!
Shoot the glass! Which is something that Brad was talking about, that something comes into play later on in the movie that we get in the first act. It's just fun.
This movie really holds up.
It looks great.
This movie is now like 35 years old. Still looks great.
Looks phenomenal.
It was a big risk at the time. Like, you don't think about it now, but, Bruce Willis was not an action star when this movie came out. So Bruce Willis at this time was known for television, mostly Moonlighting,
which I loved.
Which is basically, it's like an enemies to lover romantic comedy series with him and Sybil Shepherd. Great show. If you've never checked it out,
it's so good.
try. I think it might be streaming somewhere. Check it out if you've never seen it. But a lot of younger people will be like, "What? Bruce Willis has been in probably 60 or 70 action movies. He's in 10 action movies every single year."
Yeah, this was where he started with television. This is where it started,
and he was not he wasn't even their 7th or 8th choice. I mean,
and talk about we just talked about Bad Santa and how that guy was just not a likable character. This guy is over the top likable. Like you trust him the moment he's on screen.
He is everyman.
So everyman.
So, you know, he shows vulnerability. Like they do a lot of things that were very anti-1980s action movie hero in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
One, he is not like, doesn't look like he's been pumping steroids for like, you know, like the past 5 years, like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone or Jean-Claude Van Damme or any of those guys. He just looks like a regular dude. He looks like a cop.
He's a cop.
He's got a soft body, you know.
Yeah.
I mean? He's I
don't know if he had a soft body.
He's not like super fit. Trust me. He's got a little bit of a paunch. He's balding. He just he doesn't like fit the mold of the action hero of that era. And, you know, they do stuff to put him in he shows his vulnerability.
He does.
You know, he's constantly...
he has no shoes on.
He has no shoes on, which comes into play with the glass. Again, perfect
and he yells,
screenplay.
like when someone hits him or something, he actually... Which you don't get all the time in action movies.
And frankly, you know, you don't get it in even, like, the sequels to this movie. Like, the sequels to this movie, he starts to become... It's a little bit like how First Blood goes into Rambo.
Yeah, it gets a little out of control.
It really gets out of control. The sequels to Die Hard start to get a little bit out of control.
Agreed.
But, I mean... Elevator pitches are a lot of times it's Die Hard on a bus speed. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's used as, it's so like ingrained in the culture that it's used as, you know, vernacular.
And like, what I like too is like his wife, who's being held hostage with the other, you know, party goers. She's not shown as like a damsel in distress, right? She's really looking and watching what's happening and trying to figure out how they can get out of there.
She's acting like what she is. She is a corporate executive. She's used to high stress situations. She's used to making decisions. And she's going through her process.
Yeah.
The whole time. Is she afraid? Of course she is.
Yes.
But she's not freaking out in a way that seems unnatural for someone in that position of power. She's like the number 2 or 3 in the company that she works for.
Right. Well, that other guy, I think, is in position of power, but he was such a sleazeball.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like the sales manager or something. She is like on the other side of it. But, you know, she's smart, she's resourceful. And, you know, and she, you know, despite all the problems that she has with her husband, she knows, like, once he's there, he's going to figure out a way to do this. And she then puts herself, what can I do to make sure that he succeeds here?
Yep, yep. It's action-packed, a lot of fun. I mean, it takes place in one building, but it's totally enough. The cop that his, like, what is the name of that actor?
Reginald Val Johnson.
Yeah, so he plays an LA cop who gets a call. I can't remember how he gets there.
He gets a call about, like, an alarm or something going off from that building.
Yeah, and so he ends up conversing with John McClane.
Well, he first, like, he talks to, like, the guy that the crew has on the ground floor. I forget how he ends up getting in touch with John, but he kind of becomes his lifeline to the outside. Yeah. And it's kind of an interesting take on the buddy cop movie. Is they've never met. Their entire relationship is built over a walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
And you buy it immediately.
You totally buy it.
You buy that these two guys become bros over the course of this evening. Like, you know, they've got the whole connection about both being cops and, you know, families and just everything, you know, starts to click between these two. Just like, I mean, everyone's come across someone that they've met and they have instant chemistry with, and you just start talking and it seems like you've been friends your entire life, even though you just met them. that's kind of what happens here. You buy it. Great performances. This movie is fantastic. If you've never seen it, watch it. I can't believe there's anyone who hasn't seen it.
Well, I mean, maybe like millennials, Gen Z, maybe, haven't seen it. If you are of that age, I highly recommend you watch this movie.
Yes.
I know you're like, I don't want to watch like old people movies. This movie is so good, you'll never look at action movies the same again.
This is a great movie.
It's a great movie. We highly recommend it. Is that all we got to say?
I think so.
Very quotable movie.
Yes.
Quotes to this day, people still say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yippee Ki-yay.
Yeah, Yippee Ki-yay and
shoot the glass.
Shoot the glass and
welcome to the party, pal. There's a lot of them.
There's a lot. It's a very quotable movie. Anyway, let us know. Do you feel like Die Hard is not a Christmas movie? Let us know in the comments. Tell us what you think. If you'd like to email us at ratingthelist@gmail.com. For now, that's it. I'm Jerry.
I'm Brad.
And we're Rating the List. We'll see you for number 5.
Bye.
Bye.